Tough week for the flip-flopper in chief, right? First, his director of the National Counter-Terrorism Center jumped ship. Then this, the Wall Street Journal, putting out yet another bombshell on how woefully Trump has managed the war in Iran.
Your director of national counterterrorism, Joe Kent, he just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you?
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. I didn't know him well, but I thought he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it.
So first, on Tuesday, as we know, Joe Kent, a high-ranking intelligence official and longtime Trump ally, resigned in protest over the Iran war, becoming the most senior figure to step down so far. In his resignation, Kent made a striking claim. He said that the war was not justified by an imminent threat from Iran and could not support the direction that the administration had taken on the matter. That's not exactly outside criticism, and it can't be spun as fake news. I mean, it's coming literally from inside the national security apparatus itself.
Early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States, and that should you strike now, there was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives.
And the resignation doesn't exist in isolation either. It connects directly to something that we've been seeing across multiple reports and I've now covered on several different videos. Those reports notably being from Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal, stating that military leaders have warned Trump about the risks of this war, only to be ignored. Before the conflict escalated, senior officials, including top military leadership, warned about disruption to global oil shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, those warnings are clearly colliding with reality these days, as we are seeing instability in global shipping routes and surging oil prices as a result, forcing the administration into reactive measures, including considering naval escorts to keep oil flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. Or at least that's what it appeared Trump was talking about at one point during a press conference before changing his mind like 5 minutes later. It's pretty hard to keep up.
If we ever needed help, they won't be there for us. I've just known that for a long period of time. We have some that are really enthusiastic. They're coming already. This isn't need. Need would be one of the big boys. If we need their mine boats, or if we need anything, any piece of apparatus that they may have because of a situation that they have, they should be jumping to help us. We want them to come and help us with the Strait. My attitude is, we don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them.
Did you follow that?
What progress have you made, Mr. President, in getting America's allies to assist the U.S. in escorting those oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually. In fact, we just put out a notice. I was watching over the last couple of weeks, and all of our NATO allies were very much in favor of what we did. They thought it was very important. We were just discussing it, actually. Very important that we take out the nuclear threat from Iran, and we've done that very strongly, very powerfully. We've wiped out their Navy, wiped out their military in every aspect. Their Air Force is now decimated. They have no Air Force, no Navy. They have no radar. Their radar is entirely gone. Their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Everything is gone. Their leaders are gone. I guess one of the Their top person was, they say, a lot of people say their actual top was killed yesterday, along with somebody else who was responsible for the killing. The man that was responsible for the killing of 32,000 people over the last 2 weeks, he was in charge of the killing of protesters. It's an evil group. I mean, they've killed much more than 32,000 people. And the man who was responsible for that was also killed yesterday. And all of the NATO allies agreed with us, but they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much. We have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us.
So in other words, the scenario that military leaders had warned about is no longer hypothetical. It's happening. It's where the resignations are coming from, and they're becoming politically significant, right? Because officials don't typically leave at the height of a conflict unless something deeper is wrong. I mean, Kent's departure highlights a growing divide inside the administration over whether the war was justified to start with, whether it aligns with the America First principles that Trump had sold many a people on, and whether the risks were properly considered before he engaged. In fact, Kent explicitly framed his resignation as an opposition to a war that he believed should not have been fought in the first place.
I'm on the Gang of Eight. I got all the briefings. We all understood there was clearly an imminent threat, that Iran was very close to the enrichment of nuclear capability, and they were building missiles at a pace that no one in the region could keep up with. They were far outpacing our allies and friends and us in our defense capability, because we had personnel, installations, members of the armed services, and civilians in the region. Iran was building up ballistic missiles at such a rapid pace, and we knew that their plan was to fire them upon Americans. The commander-in-chief and his administration had a very difficult decision to make. I don't know where Joe Kent is getting his information, but he wasn't in those briefings, clearly, because the Secretary of State, the Secretary of War, and everyone, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane, they had exquisite intelligence, and we understood that this was a serious moment for us. Had the president waited, I am personally convinced that we would have mass casualties of Americans, service members and others, and our installations would have been dramatically damaged. And so the president felt that he had to strike first to prevent those mass casualties. That's a summary. I can't tell you the classified part, but that's the summary that's made public, and it's accurate. Yes, Manu.
And this is what makes this moment more notable, right? It fits the pattern that's been widely reported, despite Trump disputing it as fake news. We remember the Washington Post ran a piece on how military leaders warned about escalation, with intelligence officials questioning the justification. Trump denied its legitimacy and made a lengthy Truth Social post about it. Then you have his once trusted billionaire fellow bigot, Rupert Murdoch, commissioning several hit pieces on the very same thing that General Dan Kane warned about the repercussions regarding the Strait of Hormuz, and, well, he just ignored it. And then you partner that with a senior national security figure resigning over the war. How can you expect anyone to believe that things are running smoothly in the Situation Room? I mean, the leader of the US just stood in front of the world and said it was a surprise Iran reacted how they did, to the point that even Fox News reporter Peter Ducci was like, come on, mate, nobody briefed you on that?
Thank you. You were talking about Iran a couple times today and what they did after Epic Fury began. You said they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. Are you surprised that nobody briefed you ahead of time that might be their retaliation?
Nobody, no. The greatest experts, nobody thought they were going to hit. They were, I wouldn't say friendly countries. They were like neutral. They lived with them for years. Peter, they were going to take over the Middle East. They were going to knock out Israel with their nuclear weapon. But after we knocked out their nuclear potential weapon, they started building missiles, thousands and thousands of missiles. And they were going to do it with missiles while they developed. These are sick people. While they developed nuclear, somehow they were going to start at a different site, because that site was, you saw the site, the mountain. They were going to go into a certain area, which we know exactly where it is, and they were going to do that. And it's incredible what we've done. I tell you, the job we've done. You know, If I didn't chime
And then when you reach the point of resignations, it becomes harder to contain, right? For Donald Trump, the problem isn't just the resignation itself, it's what it represents.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.